And welcome back to the Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast. Davis Gregory here with me. Chris Brinkley, another packed show, 5 guests that we have here today. But before we get to any of that, this week in Skyhawk Athletics, Rodeo continues their season. They'll be at West Alabama Thursday through Saturday. You can check out those stats on UTMsports.com. Soccer continuing on in OVC play. We'll talk to head coach Mike Varga later on in the podcast and discuss UT Martin's opening win against SIUE in OVC play. But after that, Skyhawks on Thursday will be at Southern Indiana, ESPN Plus at 7 p.m. And then Tennessee Tech, the OVC opener at home, will be Sunday at 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Cross country, they will be at the Gans Creek Classic in Columbia, Missouri, hosted by the Missouri Tigers. That will be on Friday and an early morning for our cross country guys and gals. The men will run at 8 a.m. an 8K, and the women run at 8:45, a 6K for them. So early morning for the cross-country team, but we know that they've got it. I mean, that is pretty much a sport where it's like, all right, get up, go, run. And I see them every single time I go to coffee with Coach at 7 in the morning. They're going.
Yeah.
So they're going to be trained up, ready to go. Volleyball.
Why don't you join them?
Chris, I could probably list a couple of reasons on why I can't join them, and one of them is this gut right here.
That is why you join them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Volleyball will have their OVC opener at Little Rock. That'll be Thursday at 6 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and then football will wrap things up at Kennesaw State, Saturday at 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus and the Skyhawk Sports Network. Chuck Hammer will have the call for that one starting at 4:30 with pregame. I will not be able to be there. Have a wedding to go to, my brother getting married.
Congratulations.
So very excited. Thank you. Very excited for him. But, I mean, great week coming up here in Skyhawk Athletics, Chris.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to the show today.
And we'll take a break. When we come back, we will have head coach of the UT Martin golf team, Austin Swafford, joining us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And welcome back to the Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast. Davis Gregory here with me. Chris Brinkley joining us now to open up our show today is UT Martin golf head coach Austin Swafford. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. 5th season for you. How you doing today?
Yeah, we're great. Rocking right along with the season and enjoying getting the year started with all the guys. So, anyway, it's all good in our world.
Can I ask you one question that
Sure.
everybody wants to know? Like, if you're an amateur golfer, what's the one thing you can do to lower your score consistently?
Take away the penalty strokes.
Okay.
Just
stay
get
in
rid of all,
bounds.
just keep
Stay
it
out
in
of
front
water.
of you. Stay out of the water. Even if that means something different, off the tee, we don't have to hit the driver everywhere. Everybody wants to swing it the hardest and hit it the furthest.
Yeah.
Just keep it in front of you, whatever that looks like.
So be a little conservative, maybe.
Maybe. Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Or just, if there's trouble down the right side, aim a little further left, just kind of be aware of those things. So if you can keep it in front of you, you'll shave some off.
Even for these amateur guys, when you first started playing, did you have the GPS systems on your phone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's
and you
changed.
got range finders. You can see how far you are from anywhere now. Yeah.
What's the fanciest range finder do?
It tells you how far it is, but also gives you the slope. So then it adjusts your distance based on the slope or the elevation.
Yeah.
Those are I shouldn't say illegal, but we can't use those in college.
Right, but if you're just a player,
you can use it all day. Yeah,
definitely
definitely helps.
Like a couple $100, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe $300 or $400. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But listen, if you play, every weekend or 3 or 4 days a week, it'd be worth it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
There you go, Chris. Your
just trying to sell. I know you play every weekend, Chris. So go ahead.
And your brother's having a wedding. He plays. He's really good.
Yes.
You could buy him that.
There you go. Perfect
I
gift.
know, exactly. Well, his gift is my presence here.
That's right.
That's what it's
right.
going to be. That's what it's going to be. Well,
I
Coach,
love it.
before we get to anything golf, you are a dad now. Congratulations
Yeah.
on that.
you.
How is that being a girl dad? And just talk about that transition now into fatherhood.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. She was 3 months last week. So anyway, she's growing, changing every day, starting to roll over some. It definitely gives you a brand new perspective on everything. The way I used to handle some things with the team, I find myself handling that a little different now.
Already?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. But no, she's fantastic. Mom and baby are doing well, so I appreciate you asking, but yeah.
Absolutely. And you're celebrating your anniversary. Is it today?
No, it's 2 weeks from now. Kristen's birthday's today.
Oh, Kristen. Okay, her birthday.
But our
I get that
anniversary is on the
mixed up.
8th, so we got a lot going on right now.
You're right,
Yeah.
Lots of
I'm
fun stuff
impressed
going
with
around.
all your
Yeah.
research.
Hey, listen, Coach Swafford and I were buddies on Instagram. So
Yeah.
We are.
cool.
We are. Listen, there's a reason he's in charge over here.
So 2 tournaments down now. SIUE win over there to start the year in the Grover Page Classic. Just your thoughts here throughout the first 2.
It's competitive from our team and the perspective. We've had a couple different lineups so far, and we're going to probably have a couple different lineups as we go through the fall. I've learned a lot about our team so far, which is kind of in our world what you want the fall to be like. I would love for those 2 finishes to be a little better, but there were still a lot of positives to take away from it. We had just a bad round, the first round at SIUE. I think we were in 16th out of 18th after the first round, and then we shot 2 really good rounds, second and third round. The third round was one of the 3 or 4 lowest that day, and we moved up to 11th. Like, we just couldn't move up a lot. We shot ourselves in the foot, but we responded in a really positive way and got back to kind of who we were. And then last week at home at the Grover Page, we had some good scores. I'm going to be honest, just some other teams that played really well that week. Like, I don't want to take anything away from them. There's certainly things we could have done better, and I had some individuals play well that I was not able to count for the team. And we've just got to find that right lineup, and we will. It's early in the year. But some other teams just played a little better than we did. We still had some good things going on. We finished under par for the tournament. Had a few rounds in the 60s from the guys. So we're working through a few things. We've got to clean up a couple areas. Got to shave off some of those penalty strokes that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Those are going to come up now and then, but we've certainly got to limit them. But we'll get there. But it's competitive on our end. We're going to have some qualifiers this week before we get ready for Arkansas State next week, and we'll see how it shakes out.
Golf is interesting in that there's no defense. So as a coach, how much are you paying attention to the other teams and why?
Very little. Obviously at the end of the day, or at the end of a round, I may look to see how we stack up just because we're, still competing. That's our scoreboard. But at the end of the day, we can't control anything they do, and they can't control anything that we do. So as a coach,
so if you're playing a really good team, you wouldn't be more aggressive. You're just doing the best.
At least not in the first round.
Yeah.
If it's still a 3-round tournament. Now, if we were playing them in match play, maybe a little different. We may try a very aggressive approach, see if we can get a lead. Versus, if we feel like they may jump on us early and then trying to wait, we may come out of the gate strong. But if it's a normal 3-round tournament, we're going to stick to our game plan in round 1, what we think's best for our players and how to play the course, and then we can make adjustments from there. If we're 10 shots behind, okay, let's get more aggressive. Let's change something. If we're tied, let's keep doing what we're doing. 54 holes is a lot, so I think it just depends on the situation.
How much did you pay attention when you were a player?
I paid a lot of attention when I was a player, just because I wanted to see how I was doing, and I wanted to see if I was helping the team or not, or my score is going to count or not. And I think that's probably in the mind of some of our guys. Everybody just wants their score to count. We count the best 4 out of 5 each round. But at the end of the day, at least my opinion, my perspective, we got to stay within things we can control. And what other people are shooting, whether, really good or really bad, doesn't affect us. We've got to, whatever hole we're on, whatever shot it is, and keep it one shot at a time. Now, I'm not saying the game plan couldn't change, but our perspective has got to be on things we can control. Like, as you said, we can't go out there and play defense.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of what golf teaches you about life.
That's right. That's exactly right. There's so many similarities there, as I've learned over the years. Yeah.
And goals as the team as you open up this year, again, I know only 2 events down, but still a lot more to go. What are some of the goals that this group has?
I think obviously everybody wants to win conference tournament, which for us is not till April. And that seems so far away, and I guess it is in a sense, but it'll be here soon. Make match play. That gives you a chance to win the conference tournament. But I think, one of them was to win at home. We weren't able to accomplish that one. We did last year. We really, to be honest, have not sat down and set a list of goals as a team. We did just here's what we talked about. We talked about our culture, and we talked about the standard in which we want to approach that culture, and then we're just going to try to let everything else fall into place. Is that a good system or not? I think it's probably still to be determined. But these guys have bought into that, and they show up every day with the passion and enthusiasm to work at it. And they're fired up to play again next week. So
you're creating the foundation.
We're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying. We've got a healthy balance of old and young players. We don't have anybody from the transfer portal, so our roster is very balanced as far as upperclassmen and underclassmen. And I think it's going to help us down the road. Like I said, we just got to find that right lineup. But once these upperclassmen are gone, our underclassmen are going to be able to just kind of step right in and follow suit. So.
Is the golf portal just like it is in other sports, just wild and crazy?
It's wild, crazy, and jam-packed. The tough part for us is we don't have big rosters. So it's not like we're going in there looking for 3 or 4 players. At least we're not. I'm going maybe looking for one guy, and if I don't find anybody or I can't get somebody, to choose UTM, it's no big deal because I wasn't having to fill a really big spot anyway. But there is certainly a lot of names in it, yes. I mean, it is, even for golf, there's quite a few.
And one of your upperclassmen, Jonathan, made that hole-in-one
Yeah,
at
how
the
about that?
Page Classic.
Yeah, that
Talk
was
about
fantastic. He said it wasn't even really that good of a shot. And I'm like, Jonathan, it was a hole-in-one. What do you mean it wasn't a good shot? But it was kind of down on the front of that green, and that green has a slope and kind of bowls into the front. And he said, I pulled it a little bit, hit it a little thin, and it got up on the left slope, but it didn't get on top. It came back down, and it just caught the right line, went right in. I think he said that was his second one, first one in college, though, so he was obviously super excited. Really it got the momentum started for his day. He had a great round that day.
Mm-hmm. You talk about the areas to improve, talk about taking penalty strokes away. What are some other things that this team can improve on here in this fall season?
We got to play our par fives better. We have not played the par fives great so far. We have a statistics board in our facility, and one of the categories is no doubles or no sixes. So not just bogey and par fives. We've made some bogeys, sometimes too aggressive, sometimes too conservative, and we've got to find that happy medium because we got to play the par fives better. One reason we're not making birdies is we're not birdieing par fives.
What would you like your average to be on par fives? 4 point something?
4 point something, yes.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked to see what it is through 5 rounds. I'm sure it's above 5.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get that down. 4 point. Doesn't have to be 4.4. I mean, it can be 4.8. You're still playing them under par. We'd like it to be as low as we can. But for us to make more birdies and move up those leaderboards, we've got to start with the par fives because generally a golf course, that's where they're going to give you an opportunity to make a birdie.
Yeah, so explain that just for the novice and that why
Sure.
par threes are more difficult to par than par fives.
Sure. I mean, the par fives, yes, they're going to be longer, but usually a golf course architect is going to give you a chance there to get it in the hole in 4 and make a birdie. Par 3, you've got to get it in 2 shots to make a birdie. So it's less shots automatically. And typically par 5, you're going to have typically a wide fairway, or you'll be able to get there in 2 even if it's more narrow. So they're just trying to give that amateur golfer, as you're talking about, a chance to make a birdie. Par 3s are not always set up that way. So
Margin of error changes.
Margin of error changes, yeah. So anyway.
Bubba Barnett Intercollegiate coming up this next weekend,
Mm-hmm.
September 30th to October, or not next weekend, but next week
Sure.
through October 1st at Ridge Point Country Club in Jonesboro. What are our expectations here about that course and about that tournament as a whole?
It's a great tournament, and actually the gentleman that it's named after passed away last fall after the tournament, so he got to go one last time last fall, which was great. So I'm sure this year there'll be a lot of remembrance for him, so we're excited to see that. We've been over there a few times. Expectation-wise, kind of what we've been talking about. I would love to play the par fives better, and I want to go and just control what we can, focus on our effort, how we respond to things, and see how that stacks up. They've got the field is pretty solid, but it's one that I would expect us to finish, inside the top 5 if we're not competing to win. Arkansas State has a good program. They're going to be tough to beat on their home course. But, again, we went over there last year, so we're familiar with it. We know what to expect. We know what the course is going to demand from us. So we're expecting to go have a good week. But as I tell them, we'd like to focus not on the results but on things that can get you the results. Again, you can't go play defense. And I don't have any half-times, by the way. Do you know what I would kill to have a halftime?
Can we get a timeout right here?
I would love – just give me one full – timeout. Give me a minute and a half, full timeout. That's all I want. Anyway.
We could try to rally for changes.
Yes.
Listen, I'm just one time. Anyway.
Start a petition.
Yes.
Start a petition.
But if we can go play the par fives and we can go respond well when things don't go our way, we're going to have a good week.
Well, that's Coach Austin Swafford from the UT Martin golf team. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll take a break. When we come back, UT Martin head coach Mike Varga will join us as the Skyhawks opening up OVC play coming up next year on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk. Davis Gregory here alongside Chris Brinkley. Now joining us from the UT Martin soccer team, head coach Mike Varga. The Skyhawks just opened up OVC play against SIUE, winning that one 2-1. We'll get to it later on in this segment. But Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me back. We had to get a win to to get the invitation.
To get you back.
But no, good to be here.
Those are the hidden rules
I've
of
seen
Skyhawk
that.
Sports Talk. You got to get a win, and then you're on, and then you're back on. Or if you're a player, like Izzy got a point that last time right before we got her on, and so boom,
We're working.
she got on. Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. we gotta be able to put some pressure on y'all.
Yeah.
We have to some way, one way or another.
Why do you let me show up every week? Because I don't do anything.
So the ultimate winner.
Chris has his rules. He just doesn't know them. That's what it is. So you didn't play for 10 days after that Memphis cancellation, and then you go in SIUE, traditionally is one of the best programs in the OVC, and you go to Edwardsville and win that one 2-1. Talk about your team and how they, obviously the cancellation against Memphis, that was frustrating considering you all were already down there.
Right.
But then you go into OVC play against a really good team and come out with the win on the road.
No, I thought we had a really good week of preparation for the match. A pretty good idea of what we wanted to do to attack them and what they were about, and the team really stuck to the plan we put together. And we missed a couple pretty good chances. It's like basketball. You want to get the right shots for the right players, and I felt like we were getting those even earlier in the season, but they weren't dropping. So you keep doing what you do, and sometime they're going to fall. And I felt like that's what we did in the second half. And credit to the players for being resilient. It is a tough place to go and get points, and there's a history with some tough results there. But no, it was good to get a win, the first one on the road.
And Peyton Cook, I know that she's had a lot of opportunities to put shots on goal, and it's been tough for her early, but she finished a great goal to get you all started.
Yeah, no, that's a great ball by Izzy, and that was sort of what we talked about at halftime, is let's keep trying to get a little bit closer to goal and make sure we put the shots on frame and not at least make the goalkeeper make a save. And that's with Peyton. Just keep shooting. They're going to go in.
And the defense only allowed, I think, 2 shots on goal over the final 39 minutes. Talk about that back line and just the work as a whole from the group to be able to hold them off.
Yeah, no, it's we have Mac is playing in goal right now, but we have 3 quality goalkeepers that push each other every day, and then with Parker back for 2 years off and then jumping right back into it. And I think she's probably, if not the best defender in our conference, she's in the conversation. And Shayla, with 2 years now of experience, has been very good back there. And then we added, we have some younger players that wasn't their primary position when they were coming in, so they're still learning and adjusting. And then we had Lorena, who came in from UNCG and has done well back there. And that hasn't been her primary position either, but she's a pretty good soccer player, so she understands the role.
When you change a position, I mean, you know the game, but the positions are different with your responsibilities. What's that learning curve like? What do they have to figure out?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's instinctively. I think if you play in the midfield, you're moving the ball pretty quick. You know you're going to have pressure. If you're playing in the back, you can't take risks because there's no one behind you. So if someone receives a ball and you step to them and you don't win it, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
In the midfield or as a forward, you can take a little more chance. So I think there's some of those things that are instinctive over the years. You have to fix those. And but we have a player like Lorena who's come in as a midfielder. Now she has more time and space on the ball, so she can see what's in front of her.
So when you ask a player to switch positions, do you get indecision or do you get, okay, let's go for this?
No, there's really not much of a question.
Yeah, yeah.
It's through the years, I could probably count on one hand the amount of time players want to play, and if there's an opportunity, they want to be on the field. And you look at I look at attributes of players and what might suit that position, and if they have those attributes and I think they can do well, then we'll look at film and but they're all about, now if that's where I'm going to play and be on the field, then that's where I need to be. I've probably had, like I said, a handful of players through my years of coaching that have come in and said I just can't do it, and they'd rather be on the bench or down the depth chart than be on the field somewhere else, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
And have you seen a high school player and you thought, you'd be better, and then once they get to college?
All the time.
Yeah,
all the time. You look at, it could be their speed, it could be what, in high school it's different. You put some fast players up front and kick a ball over top and hope they run and score goals, and you get to college, everyone's pretty fast.
Yeah.
So they might have to have some different attributes as a player that better suit them for somewhere else.
And going back to non-conference play, I know you've been on the road for a while. I feel like that was the same story last year too. But how did you feel non-conference went in building this team up?
Well, we suffered through some injuries, unfortunately, and we had to figure out what that was going to look like. And I thought we were outside of our one match, which was we had one bad day. We were very competitive. Even when we went to Louisville, I thought we played well. We were competitive with a good ACC team, and that's the one thing that we have to do is we have to compete every time we step on the field. And I thought we've done a pretty good job of that with the results. We probably could have gotten a couple more bounces here and there, maybe grabbed another win or a different tie. But for us, and I told the team this, we could be 9-0 going into conference, and we still have to win the conference to go to the NCAA tournament. So for us, it's about preparation for the OVC, and then now it's every match is tough, and we have to treat every match important and see where the season takes us.
I know Southern Indiana, Tennessee Tech coming up, but what about some of the other conference teams? I know Morehead State's going to come here, Lindenwood and SEMO as well. What have you seen from the conference so far? Have you looked at what some of these other teams are doing?
No, I think there's a lot of similarities to us where the non-conference schedules have been difficult, and there's not success in terms of there's no one that's 8-1 or 9-0. There's some close to 500 teams, but we played a lot of common opponents, and I think we've fared well against some opponents that have beaten some other conference teams, and it gives us confidence to know that we can. I think we can step into any match and compete against anybody in the conference.
Starting out with Thursday night's matchup, this is the Varga Bowl now.
Yeah.
So you on the UT Martin side, but your daughter Allie is now a coach over there. She coached with you this past season. Talk about first that matchup going up against your daughter as an assistant coach. She's over there for
yeah. She's pretty tight-lipped. She's not giving me any secret information. I'm trying to ask her some sneaky questions, but I'm not getting anything. No, she's
not budging at all.
She's loved it there. They've treated her well. She's learning. She'll call me up. I think it was when she played in college. She looked at me and she's like, "Dad, are you working out?" I'm like, "No, I don't have time." I don't care what I do in a profession. I will always find time to work out. I called her this week, and she's driving home at 10 o'clock after getting in the office at 8 in the morning, and said, "You get to work out today?" "No, I don't have time to work out." And she said, "I knew that would come back and bite me."
Yeah. What a great opportunity. How fantastic that is. I mean, not many dads get a chance to coach against their daughter.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of her. She joined the family business, and she's always been passionate about the sport and driven, and it was a tough decision for her to decide to walk away from a playing career, but yeah, I think that the one thing for her was she was able to walk away from a career where most are leaving because of injury, and this opportunity came at Southern Indiana for her, and it's been a good fit, and I think they've given her a lot of responsibility, which is it's good for her to learn as well.
So Screaming Eagles on Thursday, but then the conference home opener will be this Sunday against the defending regular season champions Tennessee Tech. And what's the message to the fans to get them out there? I know kickoff time now at 2 now for conference games. Should be really good weather too. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, no, hopefully we can get some. Yeah, we've done a couple clinics now with the local kids, and hopefully we can get them and their families out to support us. And I know it should be a good game. I think it's a team that's had success the last couple of years. They have a new coach. A lot of the same players are back, and no, it's going to be a lot of good athletes. Should be a good soccer game. So hopefully we can get everybody out there.
Going to be a fun one, yeah. UT Martin, Tennessee Tech, and then Southern Indiana this week as well. Well, Coach, we thank you for your time and good luck throughout the rest of the way.
Thank you.
And we will take a break, and when we come back, we have Luke Johnson from the UT Martin cross country team joining us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And welcome back to the Skyhawk Sports Talk podcast. Davis Gregory here, still with me, Chris Brinkley, and joining us now, UT Martin cross-country student-athlete, our first cross-country student-athlete. Luke, you should be honored.
Yeah.
Here we are. Here we are. Luke Johnson from Oxford, Mississippi joins us now. Luke, how's the day going?
It's going great. Yep, just got out of class, about to get back and take an exam here in a little bit.
Oh, mercy. What class did you get out of? What class were you in?
I was in a exercise physiology class.
And then what's your exam in?
Biology.
Oh, my goodness.
Can we get you out of that too?
Dude, I hope.
Let's try to get him out of that. So, Luke, 2022 OVC Freshman of the Year, and I said before, junior from Oxford, Mississippi. Went to Oxford High School. We'll talk about one of your teammates here in a second, Ethan. But major in health and human performance, how has that been going here?
Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, about how you would expect, I guess. I mean, just showing up, it's pretty easy. The hardest classes I take are for like my prereqs to get into PT school,
Right.
which I'm trying to do. Yeah.
So after PT school, where do you want to go after that?
So for PT school, Martin doesn't have one, so I'm probably going to try and go somewhere in state because it'll be cheaper. So like maybe like UT Chat or like Belmont. Belmont's private, so I don't really know exactly where, but somewhere in state probably.
What was it like growing up in Oxford?
There's not a whole lot to do. More to do in Oxford than here.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of used to it. But like we always found stuff to do like around town and stuff.
Yeah. Because what's the population? Do you know off the top of your head?
Probably like 20 to 30K. It's really not that much, but when the college students for Ole Miss come in, it goes up by like 3 times.
Did you spend a lot of time on campus?
Yeah. So during practice and stuff, we would run like through campus like every day and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're a big Ole Miss fan growing up too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So went to the Grove a lot, went to a lot of games and stuff.
So and now we talked about, I guess, what you're going to do here after school with PT, but talk about your journey to UT Martin coming from Oxford. I mean, you had Ole Miss right there, could have gone there,
right.
But then you choose to come up here to UT Martin and run cross country.
Right. So I didn't have a track season for my freshman and my sophomore year of high school because I was injured, and so I didn't have like any good track times, which are really what colleges look for in cross country athletes. So I didn't have Ole Miss really looking at me. I wasn't on their radar, so they weren't really interested, I guess, until I started running like my junior or senior year. And by then, like, Tony had already started calling me and, like, recruiting me. Came on my visit. I liked it a lot here. I like the team dynamics and stuff, and so that's kind of why I ended up here.
That's not too far from Oxford.
No, it's only, I think, 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And talk about some of these lessons that you've learned here at UT Martin. I know just your third year, but, I mean, talk about some of the highs, lows, stuff that you've learned about yourself and learned about life as a student here and athlete.
I've learned that you have to have a good work-life balance, I guess. Like, we wake up at 5:30, 5:40 every day.
We were talking about that already.
It is rough. I'm not going to lie.
You're not a morning person,
no,
I take it.
I am not.
And you can you not
And I found that
out.
I thought I was a morning person until I got here, and I realized very quickly I wasn't. But, yeah, so you have to really manage your time well. There's not a whole lot of free time, but when we have free time, like, we always try and make the most out of it.
And so can you or can you not have coffee? I know that we talked with rifle people before that they can't have coffee, but if you can have caffeine before you run, is it allowed or
It's
no?
allowed to have coffee, but it really messes up your stomach sometimes.
Yeah, which you don't need when you're running.
Some people can handle it, some people can't. I'm not a coffee person myself. I just kind of deal with it.
When did you start running?
I started running about 9 or 10 years ago. I wasn't even in middle school yet. Mm-hmm. We had a club that we had to choose at our school. It was like between book club, art club, and cross country club. I didn't even know what it was. I showed up in like jeans and boots the first day, and they made me run. I was like, what am I doing right now?
They made you run in the jeans and boots.
Yeah, but I was pretty good at it, so I kept doing it, and that's kind of how I ended up here.
If you could run in jeans and boots and still like it, you knew it was meant
about
for
to
you.
Say,
yeah.
Did you have blisters like all over your feet?
Oh yeah.
I feel like they would have been like, okay, like we'll let him watch the first day. No, they threw you right into it. Like,
well, part of it was I just wanted to because I'm like kind of competitive. I just wanted to beat people.
Right.
My son actually he played soccer in the first practice. He didn't know that, and he ran in Crocs because he thought they were. And he was like, I don't know what would be worse. I guess boots are worse.
I don't know. Crocs are pretty bad.
Crocs and soccer. I mean, you wouldn't be able to step into the ground.
No, they'd probably fall off your feet.
Yeah. I mean, at some point
Put
in
them
time.
in sport mode.
So why at some point in time did you just not say, all right, forget this, toss the boots to the side and run barefoot?
So
Was it through the? If it's through the woods, then yes, understandable.
I dropped the boots. I started running in tennis shoes, but I kept the jeans for some reason. I kept running in jeans for about a year.
Really?
Yeah.
For a year?
Wow. But now
Yeah,
you were
so-
9 or 10.
Right.
though,
So until I started middle school, I didn't really start running in shorts.
Big difference. And then you were like, this is better.
I had no idea what I was doing.
But nobody told you like, oh, you could just run in shorts. Like, it'd be
I
fine.
mean, I realized I could, but I just didn't bring a pair
Yeah.
to
You
practice.
you just
or
wanted to run in
anything.
jeans.
That's what I wore to school, so I just wore it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love it. I love it. That's great. So coming here to UT Martin, you have Ethan Knight, who went to the same high school as you. Talk
Right.
about your relationship with Ethan. I know both of you are in the same year in school.
Right.
Right. now.
So I've known Ethan since second grade.
Wow.
So I
Since
moved.
before boots.
Right. Yeah. So I moved to Oxford when I was in first grade, or no, second grade. So I lived in Memphis until first grade, and then so when I moved there, he was the first friend I ever made, and we both joined that club, and we both ended up here. Out of like pure coincidence.
Did you recruit? So when Tony called you, did you recruit him to like, hey, if I go to UT Martin, will you go to UT Martin, or what was that like?
So he actually recruited both of us around like the exact same time, and we came on a visit together, and we both we ended up signing, I guess, like the same time frame.
And not just Ethan, but these other teammates too. How have you bonded with them? And I know that the connection must be tight because you all have to wake up every morning and go run, and then you're traveling across the country to go and run in these meets too. And when I went out and I watched you all here at Union City, I was like, golly, none of y'all looked like you were having fun when you were running. I was like, it just looks like they're hurting the entire time.
Oh, we were hurting all right. but we do it together.
Yeah, so. What makes that so special as a team to go out there and have that shared experience? Because that must do a ton for team chemistry.
We're definitely like a second family away from home sort of thing. We all like, even when we're not in practice, we're all together pretty much all the time, just doing whatever.
You talked earlier about the work-life balance. What can you take away from running that helps you in life? When in life do you go, wow, because I'm a runner, I know this?
You have to be determined. You have to be really determined to run because, like, if you don't want it, you're not going to do very well. And so you have to, like, I guess it helps you stay focused, stay, like, consistent with what you're doing, and just, like, be ready for whatever comes at you.
Yeah, and which goes with you saying, it looks like they're in pain, and he says you're just in it. I mean, you just persevere. You just have to keep going.
Oh, yeah. You hurt from, like, the moment you start, pretty much. Like, it hits you quick, and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I feel like you just about to start, and it's like, whatever. Let's just do it. Let's just go ahead.
We've been doing this for so long. That,
Right.
like, mentally, like, we're all there. Our body usually fails before our mind does.
Yeah,
Right.
which is impressive. If you've got a mind that's strong, you can accomplish anything in life.
Yeah.
And then I think about, and I don't know if it's a thought for yours, but the weather conditions, you just never know. I mean,
it was
and
raining.
you can have the heat index up, you can have rain, you can be with snow on the ground.
Right, so times in cross country don't really matter that much because of all the conditions and like muddy courses. Every course is different. So in cross country, we mainly just like go out there and we race the competition and try and beat people. And then like come track is usually when we try and get times and stuff.
Yeah.
Get PRs and things like that.
Yeah.
So Gans Creek Classic coming up. That's in Columbia, Missouri. That's coming up this Friday. An early morning run. I apologize for that. That's going to be, I think you all running at 8 in the morning.
It's later than normal.
What's your preparation in terms of, okay, and I know you've been running at 5 in the morning throughout the week and things like that. Does anything change in terms of your preparation when it comes to an actual meet?
Sort of. So like throughout the week, we kind of like we're not going to do a full workout Wednesday. We'll be doing a little bit less, and then like Thursday we're going up there and we're going to run on the course, and then come Friday, so we wake up. Even though we race at 8, we're going to get up and do a shakeout 3 hours before that. So we'll get up around 4:30 to 5 and run for about 12, 15 minutes.
Wow.
Do some stretches and stuff, and then we go back to the course and warm up and race later.
And personally, what are some goals that you have before we let you go? What are your goals for this season? And you can include track and field as well too.
So goals, I want to get first team all conference. So I think that's top 7 at conference. And then, so I don't really have a time goal, I guess, other than like low 24 minutes for 8K, which is like 5 miles. And then come track, I want to run like 14:30s for 5K, and then hopefully get like top 2 or 3 at conference.
And be awesome. And Luke, thanks so much for joining us here on the show. Good luck on your exam too.
Yeah.
We're sorry we couldn't take up.
I
more
wish I
time.
could give you some help, but I wasn't very good at biology.
Comm major. We can't help you.
I know
out.
the 3 single cell organisms, but I bet that's not on your test.
Well, you already know more than me, so there you go. Thank you to Luke Johnson for coming on. And when we come back, we'll have Bart Belew, Assistant Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, joining us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
All right.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And welcome back to the Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast. Davis Gregory here, still with Chris Brinkley, now joining us a first-time guest, Bart Belew, Assistant Athletic Director for Sports Medicine. Bart, how are we doing today?
We're doing good. Thanks
It's
for having
good
me.
to get the legend on the
The
podcast.
legend. I tell you what, been here since 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then a student prior to that.
And a student prior to that, too. So graduated in 1997
Yes.
and then went to Ole Miss. What was your journey as a student like here?
It was, I didn't know what athletic training was coming out of high school. From a little small local town, and didn't even have a position in town. So I really didn't know what athletic training was, but knew that I wanted to be involved in sports somehow. And I was introduced through a friend of a friend that was a student athletic trainer, and came in and saw what they did and decided that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
What year was this?
93. Started fall of 93.
So Linda Barker.
Linda Barker was the head athletic trainer here.
Yeah.
Tim Mullins, who left here in 97 and went to Ole Miss as a head football trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for him for 4 years and as a student trainer.
And who were some of the coaches and players at the time?
Coach McCleary was the head
Yeah.
football coach at that time. Of course, Jerry Reese was here.
Mm-hmm.
Jody Evans, who's now, I think, an ops guy at Clemson now. Marion Hobbies was here. Is a legend in Tennessee football and stuff.
Yeah.
Casey Rogers, legend in Tennessee football. So we've, just like with Coach Simpson, we've had some pretty impressive coaches come through.
Yeah. And that was
Really
right at
hard.
the transition, right? Pacers to Skyhawks. And
Yep,
yeah.
that was my sophomore year. I think in '95 maybe.
Yeah.
When we went to Skyhawks and stuff. So I was a Pacer also.
We're old, Bart.
We are old. We are old.
You don't even want to know where I was in 2000, Bart. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. So your GA athletic trainer, though, starting out at Ole Miss.
Yes.
What was that journey like down in Oxford?
It was really good. Of course, I've never really been out of Weakley County very much, like a lot of kids around here, and but Ole Miss was a great experience. The way our profession was back then, I was because I got certified right out of college here, and so I was basically the head baseball trainer. I was the only athletic trainer at an SEC baseball event,
Yeah.
and so you're kind of thrown to the fire right away. And I remember one of my very first games. One of our starting outfielders slid into second base and dislocated a finger, and ran on the field, reduced it on the field, and made sure that it's stable. Taped him up and ran off the field and let him keep playing and stuff. And that's
Let's reduce it. Put it back in
put
place.
it back in place.
Okay.
Yes.
Had that ever happened to him before?
No, first time.
How
First
about?
time.
And you had reduced a finger before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
It was his left index finger.
Wow.
I feel like that would kind of hurt a little bit to put back.
Bart's seen. I mean, we could sit here for an hour and talk about the things that you. We've talked about this before. We had a basketball player, and his bottom tooth went through his lip, and you glued it back together, and he went back out there and had a heck of a game. Just random stuff, yeah.
Yeah, just some.
What's
some
the most
unusual
random?
injury.
Have you seen injuries that have occurred off the field or court in the locker room or something?
Oh yeah.
Slip in
I
and-
had we had a football player years and years ago that came in the next morning. His knee was hurting pretty bad, and I looked at him and ended up getting an MRI on him, and come to find out that he was playing video games or watching TV, and he was setting Indian style. And when he tried to get up, he tore his meniscus.
Oh
getting up.
no! Yeah. Lesson learned. Davis plays
Yeah,
video
no,
games.
That's why grown men don't set Indian style.
I'm going to say
I could actually give you 9 other reasons, but I'm good with that. That's funny.
Oh gosh! So, talk about your day-to-day life now with football, and then also golf too. What do you do in a day-to-day instance?
A day usually starts usually a little before 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll have treatment set up. I'll have kids come in. We usually staff meeting most days around 9 o'clock, but on Mondays we're a little bit later, so coaches can get in watching tape and everything, start working on their game plan for the week. And so morning time is usually treatments, rehabs, kids that come in that, need certain exercises and certain treatments and stuff, trying to get them ready for later in the week and getting them ready for practice that day. More of that in the afternoon after lunch, and then before meetings we're taping, we're bracing, we're doing more treatments, we're doing everything we can to get the kids out on the field as quickly and as safely as possible.
And when you talk about handling injuries, I know that there are, you've worked with women's basketball, I know this past season, and so many other sports, and you've seen, from the most minor injury possible to a major one. How do you handle an athlete's emotions in that time where, it could be something really serious?
Yes. And he's the best before you give this answer.
Thank you. Yeah. The best thing that we have going, I think, in my staff is, and any characteristic of an athletic trainer is to remain calm. If I get to a kid and I'm like, like this, it doesn't really give a lot of confidence to the kid. It scares them more. And, and just personally, a lot of times I try to use humor as much as I can. A lot of times if you look real close, you'll see an athlete kind of giggle a little bit. I'll make a comment to them, just try to lighten the mood, take their mind off of it a little bit. And then, I've been around these athletes so much that the trust that I've built with them is the best thing that I have going. Most of the time, no matter what the injury is, if I say, hey, this isn't a big deal, in 3 days you're going to be fine. The athletes really believe that, and that goes a long ways because, nowadays an athlete wanting to get back has a lot to do with how fast they get back.
Yeah.
It's we're not doing workers' comp stuff. We're not doing, the elderly or anything like that. And so, these 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they want to get back to doing what they love and what, they're here to do. And so, giving them the confidence that, hey, this isn't a big deal. It's going to hurt for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is. And then you're going to be fine. You're going to be back to doing what you love to do. It goes a long way.
I'm not an athlete. And I'm old, but I injured my calf playing racquetball. I don't know if you remember this. I heard it pop, and I was like, my life is over. Yeah. And I had some stuff I had to do, and physical stuff. And I told Bart, and Bart said, okay, it's going to turn black tomorrow for 87 and a half hours. You will feel pain. And then at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon, all of a sudden, you're going to be okay. And he was spot on to the second. And I still don't know if I just believed him and it happened or if he just knew it was going to happen.
Placebo is a real thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, convincing somebody that they're going to be okay is because the body, the mind tells us to give up long before the body actually would.
Yeah.
And so that's the hardest thing is convincing the mind that you're going to be okay. This isn't a big deal. That you're going to survive this, and you're going to go on and be back to normal.
And you had some pretty big injuries when you played sports, right?
I did a long time, and I think that's kind of geared me towards this profession. I guess junior year, senior year of high school, I ruptured a disc in my back and actually basketball, and then I broke my collarbone 3 times.
Yeah.
And so, and multiple ankle injuries and all that stuff. And of course, we didn't have an athletic trainer. We didn't have anybody, so I had to kind of do my rehab on my own. I remember the old gym in Gleason.
Yeah.
It was kind of down in a basement and stuff, and I remember with an ankle injury, hopping up that on 1 foot, hundreds and hundreds of times to strengthen my ankle up and stuff. Just doing what any kid would do just to get back. And I think that kind of helped lead me towards this profession. When I found out this was a real profession, I was like, that's what I want. That's what I'm put on this earth to do.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, before we let you go, you've been here since 2000. What's your favorite road trip? Or favorite road trips? We can encompass
that's a good
there.
question. I kind of miss. It wasn't a great trip, but I miss. Morehead State in basketball.
Yeah.
I haven't worked basketball in a long time. Of course, we don't play them in football because they're Division III and stuff. But, I've been up there numerous times in basketball. And it's a lot of people don't like it. There's no cell phone reception hardly there because you're in the mountains. But I like not having a cell phone every now and then. It's a great feeling. When you leave, as soon as you cross the mountains, your phone just ding, 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 and stuff.
And there's always snow or ice.
Yes. So, I like that. And, of course, I'm going to miss the Murray State trips a lot. It's such a close trip and such a rivalry and stuff like that. But,
and on the big trips, you went to Hawaii.
Went to Hawaii several years ago.
Did you go to Miami with basketball that year?
I didn't go.
Yeah.
Of course, Duke. I went with we played Duke in men's basketball years ago. Going to Cameron Indoor. I'm not a Duke fan. I'm a Tennessee fan, but going to Cameron Indoor, just a historical part of that.
What is that? This is the thing I don't know, and I see it from a basketball standpoint. I'm not there with you in football, but Each visiting facility has a visitor's locker room, which is really not as good as the home locker room.
Correct.
But you also have the training area too.
We do. We'll set up. The large places we go when we're playing. The FBS schools and stuff. They'll have a separate room for us, which is always nice.
So is the visiting training room as nice as the home training room, or do
Oh
you
no. It's usually a small room, but it's usually separate. It's when we play the smaller teams. When we used to go to Austin P before they read theirs, we would tape outside, the locker rooms. You basically just do whatever you need to get it done and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the same way here. When other schools come here, we've got them outside the visitors' locker room with taping tables and doing all that.
And then
stuff.
we go to the other team's radio broadcasters and exchange notes and pronunciations. What do trainers do whenever
we talk? I usually call the athletic trainer that's coming in that week. I'll call them by Thursday, and it's just a friendly, hey, how's everything going? And then we'll go over what we're going to provide for them. A lot of schools, we'll provide the coolers on the sideline if they want them. Nowadays, a lot of teams have contracts with Gatorade or Powerade or whoever. So, if they have Powerade, they don't want to use our Gatorade coolers, but we offer it just in case. And then we tell them kind of what's available, and then we have then before the game, usually at about 40 minutes before the game starts, we have what's called a medical timeout, and that's me and usually our physicians, Dr. Vance and Seth Coleman. We'll meet with their medical staff, and we go over where EMS will be located, how close the hospital is. We go over emergency situations. If we have to spine board someone, do we take the equipment off here, or do they do it at the hospital? And we just kind of go over everything.
Yeah.
So, heaven forbid, if it does happen, we're ready for it and stuff.
Always ready, always prepared.
Gotta be.
Bart, thanks so
Gotta
much
be.
for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
It's been a great time, and we'll take a break. And when we come back, our final guest of the show, Jason Simpson from the UT Martin football team, will be on with us here on Skyhawk Sports Talk.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And we're back here on Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast. Davis Gregory here with Chris Brinkley. Now joining us here in the final segment of the show, head coach of the UT Martin football team, Jason Simpson. Skyhawks coming off a tough battle with Missouri State. The Bears hold on, but UT Martin puts forth a great effort in that fourth quarter. Coach, just talk about this past Saturday and the game as a whole.
Yeah, I got to relive it. Okay. They're a good team. They got a good program, got a good ball club. Making the move to Conference USA, and they added some pieces to some good players they had, and I think they'll be a force to reckon with there in the Missouri Valley. Okay. Experienced quarterback. The back's getting close to 3,000 yards, so tough challenge going into it. Okay. And not that you ever like to lose, okay, but, it's like the game against SEMO, right? There's two good teams. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. But obviously I'm not doing a very good enough job of, we talk about all the time about not beating ourselves and beating the game. And we're not doing that right now. And it starts with, you'll see different problems on teams each week to where – on offense, as long as you don't turn it over, okay, you may not move the ball, but you still give yourself a chance, right? You didn't beat yourselves, and we put it on the ground twice. Didn't protect the quarterback as good as we needed to, but those are some things that I'd seen in practice, and I didn't get them corrected, and kind of continued, and he put the ball on the ground twice. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, Kai in the game, though, 20-27 for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What'd you like from him in that start?
Well, I mean, I expect Kai to do that. Kai's a good player, and but when you're playing against good teams, it's the mistakes that you make that can overshadow the good plays that you make. Mm-hmm. All right, and then you flip that defensively. Okay, I mean, our first 28 plays of the game, we're playing good defense. It's 7-3, and then we let them go 93 yards or 91 yards in 53 seconds. And there's 2 plays that aren't good enough. They're going to get you beat. And then we didn't tackle well. Missed 20 tackles. The back was big. He was okay, but we didn't get him down. All right, and then with all that being said, then we still had 2 busted coverage. 2 busted coverages where we don't communicate. One where they get an empty, and then one when they get an unbalanced, and we have a set check, and we didn't Obviously, I didn't coach it well enough, and the kids didn't communicate out. And so you get another 60 yards passing right there, one of them being a touchdown. All right, so those are things that, you're lucky. You were down by 7, with 2 minutes to go, and then you don't get to stop on the screen because we don't get the guy down and get him tackled on the sideline. So disappointing how we lost, okay, and the reasons that we lost and how we played, and those are things that will haunt you the rest of the year until you get them corrected.
And those two teams, you talk about SEMO, you talk about Missouri State, and I mean, even you throw Kansas State in, those are 3 really talented football teams.
Yeah.
I mean, that you
tough
face
schedule.
early on,
Yeah.
but that can build you up for later on in the season as you get closer to conference play, too. And I know with an opponent on Saturday in the FBS that Kennesaw State, that you're going to be more prepared for it later on because you've played such really good teams.
No, you hope that's the case. I mean, that all right, but our schedule's tough all year, and I'm looking at the scores, and I mean, there's no teams that you're going to get your stats padded. Okay, you're going to have to play, and you're going to play well, and can't beat yourself. The rest of the year. So we're learning some hard lessons and some hard, and winning disguises that. You can win some of those games, and I'm not saying we haven't won some of those games and made the same mistakes. Okay, but we also had some erasers on those teams. Okay, what I mean by that. Sam Franklin rushed for 270 yards against that team last year.
Yeah.
Dotson probably had a couple, tackles for losses and stuff. Oh, and those replace a couple of those bad plays that you had, in the game Saturday. And so right now, if we're not getting those erasers on either side of the ball, okay, then those mistakes we're making are become magnified. Okay. Now the frustrating part is you still got enough talent and you're coached well enough to have a chance in these games against quality teams, SEMO and Missouri State. But it's my job to get it fixed, and it's disappointing, and it doesn't get any easier this week. So we'll show the mistakes to the players, and we'll get ready to go.
The word disappointing used because you feel you could have won those games. I mean, those specific games, if a couple of things go another way. One of the fears, obviously, is the mentality of the team. As a coach, when your team is doing okay but not getting wins, what do you have to do differently?
That's what I get paid to do.
Yeah,
that's what I get paid to do. This is an older team. Now, there's a couple new players that need to play better, but there's some older guys that have been around here a while that you're with them. It's not us against the players as a coaching staff. No, it starts with me and it trickles to the coaches, and and you can't just look at the plays that you do well. Okay. You're responsible as a coach of the plays that they do bad. How can you teach it better? What can I say in meeting to make that register a little bit more? How can I get it to where the practice simulates how Saturday is? Okay, so when the band's playing and it's a real environment or whatever, that communication gets across the board.
Yeah.
And we don't just give up a free play. Okay, that's what I stay up at night.
Well, look, I'm going to give you credit for that because I've read several leadership books, but when a leader takes accountability for even when those that the leader is leading, it changes everything.
Well, I mean,
and maybe it's not your fault, but you're taking accountability for it and trying to figure out whatever it is to get to that person.
Well, as a head coach, you signed every player in the building.
Yeah.
Okay, and you hired every coach in the building. Okay, and so you're responsible for it, and whatever your expertise is, and mine's more on offense. Well, you know what? Score 40 points. Figure out a way, offense to score 40 points. Okay, take some pressure off the defense. Figure out a way to get a lead to where we're not, where we don't have to play the run and the pass. Okay, so there's plenty of blame to go around, and it starts with me. Our kids played hard. Okay, they didn't tackle very well, and now just schematically, I'm gonna give Missouri State credit. They were controlling the line of scrimmage for the most part. Their defensive line was, and they were able to stop the run with 6 in the box. Okay, we got 6 to block their 6, and you rush for 124 yards. I mean, it's okay, all right, but it's not a big day. Okay, it's not a day to where you put them in conflict and make them one short in their coverages. Okay, so disappointed on that. Now you didn't have Tank. Okay, Josiah, your starting left guard went out. Okay, we lost to Lapo, another tackle that can be a good player. down the road. You know, so you're down some guys, but that's part of this game too.
And no, Kyle went down with that injury late in the game. Is there any update on him? And we certainly hope the best for him.
I know. I think he's having an MRI today at 5, and you know, he played hard. He really did, and I appreciate him. And you know, but that's sad. Okay, he waited his time to get to be the starter and throwing his body around, and you know, he probably only had a handful of mistakes. Okay, I thought he played a pretty solid game, good enough to win. Okay, but you know, but prognosis doesn't look good. I will say that. So luckily, you know, we've still got you know, a guy that's played a lot of football for us, and Kincaid and him, and then Julian Chavez will move up there to the 2, and that's who we'll rep out this week.
And so as I was thinking about this, and again, a lot of people could say, oh, well, you know, it's tough starting this and that, but you still have a lot of conference ball left in front of you, too. And Kennesaw, there's an opportunity there against an FBS school. And so how are the guys mentally? You know, I know this is a frustrating start for them and for you, but there's still a long season left to be played here.
Well, I haven't seen the guys, right, because Saturday and they're off on Sunday. They'll be in here at 2:30, but I don't expect any different. A lot of these guys, they know this. This is the last time they're going to play college football, these seniors, and everybody's a competitor in that room. And all I tell the coaches today is you know, it's not the staff against the players. No, we all take accountability for this. And when we watch the tape today, as long as guys take the coaching and see their mistake and respond to it well, you know, as a coach, you get to come back and coach on Monday, right? And we all know as a staff, right, when your guy makes a huge mistake, it affects all of us, okay? And so we have to take ownership of that. As long as the player takes ownership of it, then he's going to get another opportunity. Okay, that's how I approach it. If he's there's a reason he was playing, is that we felt he had worthy and the value of playing. So now, if he doesn't take ownership of it and there's different excuses, then that's probably going to be handled a little bit differently. But no, we'll hang together and we'll keep playing and stuff. And if you do that, you just got to think that, you know, things are going to turn your way. You know, are you any better when you catch Zoe catches the overtime ball against Tennessee Tech? You know, you made that play, you know, last year, or East Illinois, and they went for 2 and didn't get it. Okay, but this is a result-oriented, you know, season, and right now we're at 1-3, and you're not going to be at the game this weekend, by the way.
How'd you know?
You know what? Okay, I've heard nothing but bad news in the last 48 hours.
How did you know?
And how did you get this in your contract, by the way? Okay, what if I just called in and said we may play better without me there Saturday? Okay, but
you might play better without me there Saturday too. So.
There's a danger in that. There's a danger in that. If we do,
don't say that.
If we do, all right, I will hold you accountable for that. Okay. And by the way, I've got the sparkling grape juice in my car. So I understand you got to do the best man.
Yes,
the best man toast.
I do.
And you are under 21, so make sure that it's sparkling grape. Okay. If not, I'm going to turn you in.
This is my favorite segment of the podcast.
He is 21. You know. So. Well, I need to make sure I see his time sheet, okay, for Saturday, okay, because I didn't know you could just take days off, you know, during the season. Yeah. But
look, this man right here.
You know, would Chris Collinsworth or Costas take a game off? Can your brother? Well, first of all, why did your brother get married during football season?
See, that was going to be a question.
Why didn't he look
to ask for you? What is your thought on fall weddings and just that?
If in 20 years from now when you get married, okay. All right, if you get married during the fall season, we're no longer friends.
There you go.
Because first of all, I'm telling you, I'm not coming.
Yeah. No, I mean, Okay,
no. Julie would probably buy you a gift.
She probably would.
She probably would. Okay.
First of all, 20 years down the road, you're not giving me much hope for my future right now.
I'm just being realistic. Okay.
Holy cow. Oh my gosh! No hope for my future right now. But so, okay, fall weddings. Obviously, you can't go. So I have to look for spring. I have to look for summer too.
They're out
right now. What's your advice to Jordy, my brother? What's your advice to him as he gets married?
Don't get married in the fall.
Don't get married in the fall.
That'd be number one. Well, he's already broken that rule.
Yep, that one snapped in half.
So it's not going. So this thing's already not starting off in a good. You know what though? In all seriousness, okay. And I was listening to a thing the other day, and I shared it with our players. Okay, and it was talking about marriage. Okay, and I'm not being funny now. I'm miserable right now. So, but I'm being serious.
We got to try to pick.
Okay,
up
from a marriage, God gives us marriage, right? I mean, He gives us that gift. Okay. And we think that just because we get married, right, great times are coming, right, because I'm with the person I'm supposed to be with and I love and this, that, and the other. But the only way that you can grow in that marriage, right, and experience that gift from God, okay, is you continue to grow individually, okay, in your relationship with Christ, right, which will in turn allow you to be a better husband and to be a better wife. So share that with him.
Okay,
that's your speech
There's
right
my
there.
speech. I haven't written it yet, so
Right
there it
there.
is. It's right there. It's right there. Coach Simpson said, first of all, no fall weddings. Well, you killed that one. So now we got to move on to the next. When did you and Miss Simpson get married? Was that in the fall or was it in
No,
summer,
in March. How about, once again, okay, it was in March. Was it March 27th, 28th? Okay, and so we had a week.
You better know that.
We had a week. It's whatever.
She's been seeing
that's
these
fair
videos
enough.
get
That's fair
posted.
It used
so
to
she
open up
does.
our garage door, okay? So I knew it was either 27th or 28th, right? And
Fair
we opened
enough.
the garage door.
I give
But,
you credit, yeah.
okay, we had a week off, and then we was back in Jacksonville, the head coach, because spring ball was approaching, and it was that next week. So, I got the week off and back at work,
And then
man.
back to work. And then back to work.
I'm sure when your time comes, I'm sure, the whole month of September you'll want to take off, Kurt. And he'll want to take off the whole month of September when he gets married one day.
Yeah. This man, one time I interviewed him, and he was white as a goat, and you had a kidney stone.
Oh, you remember that?
Coach threw a kidney stone from the press box.
Southeast Louisiana.
Yeah.
Remember that? Back in 07 maybe?
Yeah.
08
Yeah.
or 10, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That was a tough
Should have
day.
been in the hospital.
You know what? And every game we lose, that's what it feels like.
It feels like
that's
a
tough.
kidney
It's like a kidney stone, and it just sits with you, and it's like all week long until you get a chance to play again, and and
You're
that's
full
your
of quotable
medicine.
quotes today.
Yeah.
Well,
you're-
you know what?
you're-
That's what losing coaches do. They have statistics and they have stat lines to look at. Oh, we 20 of 28 passing. You lost.
Yeah.
So that's what losing coaches do.
And listen, if the game was earlier, I think the game's at 5. I think the wedding's at 6. If it was a noon kickoff, I could have been there. But Kennesaw's only about like an hour, 2 hours away from
It could have
Blairsville.
also been a noon wedding.
Yeah,
This is also very true.
You couldn't even get the time changed, man.
I can't do anything right this time.
You're
But
still the little brother.
If I am. But if we win here on Saturday and Chuck's there, I mean, I'm suspended for a week, I guess. I'm out.
Chuck and I have known each other for a long time.
That's right.
And I remember when he was in the military and he sent me that flag. You remember that? It was flown on that carrier that
Yeah,
he was
he would
on.
watch our games from the carrier. And
So
listen.
he and I already have an existing relationship. So
I'm on the hot seat right now. I'm on the hot seat. The future's not looking good right now. Gardner Webb at Davis Gregory suspended for 1 week. That's what's going to come out in the press. Oh gosh.
hey, we lost. I need you to turn the volume down a little bit.
Okay.
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 We got to lick our wounds a little bit, and tonight we go back to practice. All right, now we clean the slate and then we move forward
And get ready to go.
I need you to be in my pain with me.
Okay. I've got you now. I got you. All right, one second. All right,
There
now
you
I'm
go.
back. I'm back.
You're
I'm back.
You're back.
Kennesaw stayed up this weekend. I know we played them 2022,
Yeah.
moving up to Conference USA. Ran
Yeah.
the triple option back then.
Yeah.
Are they still doing that right now as an offense, or have they switched up to more
Well,
of a modern style?
They're more modern. Okay, a lot in the gun. Okay, but it's still with a lot of the premises, of running the football. Okay, and apparently, I don't know this to be totally true, but last year when they were making the transition, they redshirted a lot of those players, good players that they had, and said, hey, redshirt you're going to get 1 year, 2 year, 3 years in Conference USA. So they took it on the chin last year and, didn't have the season they wanted to have win-loss wise. Lost several FCS schools last year. Okay, well now those kids are activated. They're able to go in the portal and get some Conference USA kids, right? And they got a good football team now. They've had a tough schedule as well. Who's it? San Jose State,
Yep.
UTSA,
Jackson, or I
and-
think Jacksonville's.
No.
Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana. So so they're still learning how to to play at that level. Okay, but. We wouldn't want them in our conference. Okay,
Yeah.
and they're a talented team. Got to go on the road, and how this game happened when you sign those contracts. It was a home and home deal, And then I guess it was us that had to. It was either us or them that had to delay the game last year due to a scheduling conflict. Well, in the meantime, they flipped. Went to 85 scholarships. Right, we're at 63. They make the transition, but that's not written in the contract like that.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get out of it unless you pay, I don't know, $50,000 or something like that. So that's why we got 12 games this year. We couldn't get out of this one, and and them being, so there's no pay with them being an FBS team, and and the wins and losses still count.
Because when you signed the contract, you had no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So anyway, that's the hand we're dealt. But we recruit in the Atlanta area, so hopefully there'll be some benefits of that. We're a little banged up, like I said. Maybe we get Tank back this week. We'll see. I think that'd be the only one. I looked at that injury report, and a lot of guys on it. Maybe they'll get back this week. But that's part of the wear and tear of the season. We just got to be able to play through those things, and you got to have a little bit of luck, okay? But you got to have some tough guys. You just really do. I was kidding with the guys, but I was being serious. We've got to quit looking like, that when we tackle somebody or we get tackled, like a grenade went off beside us. We got to get up and get back in the huddle and do it again. There's some toughness that's got to get involved. And don't get me wrong, when we play the run, we play the run on defense very tough. Okay. Look at the rushing yards we've given up the last, 3 games. Not, very. SEMO couldn't run against us. Missouri State was under 50 yards.
15 yards, I think.
And so, but people are attacking us in the pass game, and so we got to get some turnovers. We got to, get some more sacks. All those things combined. But we got to continue to know that you're never 100%. You're going to be banged up. You're going to have tweaks and aches and stuff, and that's how this game's built.
And a big game against the Owls coming up for Saturday. 0-3 so far in the season, but still, again, as Coach has just said, they have a ton of talent loaded up in that group. As you look forward now to Saturday and get in this week of practice, and what is the goal here for this? I know it's to go 1-0 every single week, but what is this team so far? And again, not the start that you all have wanted, but again, handling it week by week and understanding this is still a long year.
Today the first thing we're going to do is try to simulate those miscommunications that we had. That's the first thing in practice today. Okay, I can't go to anything else until I know that they completely understand that. That it's just echoed from one side of the field to the other side, and the far corner gets it, and we execute it, and you move on. So we're going to correct our mistakes. Every Monday there's always some, there's some fundamentals that are going to show up every Saturday. So you work on those. There's some special teams periods and stuff. So, to answer your question, Monday has to be, we know how to win. We know how to play good football. Okay. Even though it's another team. Okay. Another season. Is it hard to duplicate every year? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Do I feel like that apathy is set in? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But once again, how did you win those close games in the last 3 years? Okay, was it some erasures that Dresser Wynn changed, Colton Dowell changed give you a lead to where that mistake you made wasn't magnified? Yeah, sure. There's some of that as well. So the games are all going to be tighter now, as you don't have maybe that game changer on both sides of the ball. But you still got a good team. How do you win those tight games? You got to eliminate some of those mistakes.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Good luck here this Saturday. And
Are you wearing a tux? Or wait a minute. Now tell me this: if you come back like with like a shirt and jacket, whatever, with shorts on, like with knee socks, I'm out. We can't be friends anymore now if he does that.
It is
promise
a tux.
Me. Okay. Because you're representing UTM now.
I am. Yeah, I know. I've got to act right.
And then you got poor Richard Robinson was talking the other night after the high school game. He's your biggest fan. Okay. Besides me, he's your biggest fan. Okay, and you got him about ready to retire because nobody can live up to his star pupils' expectation. Everybody else can't get it done. That's not fair to those kids. I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry, Coach.
No, you did a great job while you were here. Sorry things aren't going real well now for you, but you did a good job as a student.
I'm wearing a tux.
With pants.
All right. With pants. I'll make sure to send you and Miss Simpson a picture from the wedding, and it will be sent after a win on Saturday.
Are you going to shave?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Have to. There we go. There we go. Coach, thanks.
Proud of you, young man.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Good to see you.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And that'll do it for yet another episode of Skyhawk Sports Talk. Was going to ask Coach about his thoughts about me missing for the wedding, and then
Now you know.
I need to find a plumber, fix my leaks. That's what the problem is, people leaking out information. But, going to be a great time this week here. Lots of great things going on. Skyhawk Soccer, we talked to head coach Mike Varga. Home match on Sunday, Tennessee Tech, and then Thursday, Southern Indiana football. Skyhawk Sports Network. I personally thank Chuck Hammer a lot to be able to go on the road and do this. And, Chris, for you producing, too, to let me go and be at this family function. But so thankful for you guys and thankful for UT Marvin's going to have a great week.
Yeah, have fun at the wedding. Go to utmsports.com for all the info you need. Follow the Skyhawks on social media. And come out and hang with us at Zaxby's at noon on Mondays.
Yeah, and for Chris Brinkley, myself, Davis Gregory, and all the coaches we have had on and all the administrative staff, we thank them very much. God bless from Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.